Hello, winners! This is Brenda Underwood coming to you live today to do an encore of the coaching lab with pivotal questions today because the quality of the video I did yesterday was not in par with what I wanted to do. Or what I wanted to present to the world. So I'm coming back to you today, Coach BU, the Breakthrough Strategist. And I want to talk to you about what do you do when you hit a wall? What do you do when you're learning something brand spanking new? It's uncomfortable for you and you are hitting that wall and you just want to give up. Anybody been there? I have been there. Let me tell you, as an entrepreneur, we quit more often than people know. And the beauty is nobody knows we quit. So we just have a new idea and we start all brand new the next morning. But oftentimes, if you're learning something new, whether it's racquetball, how to play a new game, how to do something new on your job, learning a new technology, or in the essence of the Breakthrough for Life Academy, learning new coaching modalities to help people live transformational lives can be hard because it's causing you to get out of your comfort zone. And one of the things that you want to do when you hit a wall, when you're learning something new, is you want to practice it until you become comfortable at it. So I want to give you some tips and some tools on how you can press through the feelings of being uncomfortable until you get your breakthrough. And oftentimes, our feelings are what's keeping you from our breakthrough. We feel uncomfortable. We feel like we don't want to do something, or we don't want to be tenacious in getting something done. And we just want to give up. And then we settle for status quo. We settle for mediocrity. And then we wonder why a year later, our life looks worse than what it did a year ago. And that's because sometimes, y'all, sometimes you are going to have to keep pressing through how you feel in that uncomfortable state until you get through and connect with your priority so that you can get your breakthrough in that area of your life. I had to do it yesterday. I didn't want to do a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live or a LinkedIn Live yesterday. I just wanted to work. I don't have a lot of clients on Fridays, so I just wanted to plow. Anybody ever want to just plow through your work and just get it done? And it was one of those days where I didn't feel like putting on no makeup. I didn't want to be presentable. I didn't want to get dressed. And I hit a wall. And I realized that I was hitting a wall because I was doing something brand spanking new. I never open the vault and share with people what I share with people that pay for my services. Very rarely. And even when I do open the vault a few times, it's just a sliver. But for 14 days, 14 modules, going through what we go through in those modules so that you can get a feel for what the Life Coaching Academy at Breakthrough for Life is going to be like, is very uncomfortable for me. And so I realized that I was hitting this wall yesterday and I didn't feel like it, but I couldn't let my feelings be a dictator for my priorities. I needed to press through until I connected with my priorities so that I can get a breakthrough in the lives of others. You know, I feel like my mission in this earth is to help transform 1 million lives through life coaching or business coaching, whatever kind of coaching you want to call it. I want to help people walk and live in the promises of God. God did not die on a cross so that we could be broke, busted, and disgusted, hating life, complaining, bogged down by legalism. That is not the Jesus I serve. He is a good God, and he wants good abundance for you. And I am coming to you on these lives so that I can just give you a little glimpse into what you're going to get. Because I know there's a lot of people out there who underpromise and overdeliver like me. And there's a whole lot of people who do the opposite. They overpromise, and then when you get in the program, you like, that ain't what they said it was. They didn't say we was gonna have to do cold calling. Y'all, you guys ain't got to do cold calling in my program. But I'm just saying, you get into something, and then when you have the initial interaction with it, you're like, this is not what I anticipated. I like to be very honest and set the expectations crystal clear of what you're going to get when you go through a program with Breakthrough for Life, whether it's a one-on-one coaching program or it's a group coaching program like my Procrastination Crusher program, or It's the academy, and that's not coaching, that's teaching. You do get a lot of coaching in that program. We had a woman today. The classes are on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we had a woman today, she just started crying. She said that she got a breakthrough in what we talked about today in class. And I just want more people to experience that. Even though in this academy, I'm teaching you the fundamentals and the modalities of coaching, true coaching modalities, I'm also giving you an opportunity to learn it in a safe environment where you can get good feedback from others. What's the difference between constructive criticism and feedback? The biggest difference is what you visualize it to be in your mind. I mean, I don't know anybody who hears, I'm about to get some criticism and says, yay, they're going to criticize me. I don't know anybody who does that. What I do know is when you give good feedback, it helps people grow. So in the Coaching Academy, I teach them how do you give good feedback so that people can be receptive of it. And this is going to be helpful for you, whether you want to be a coach, or whether you want to be coached, or whether you just want to be better in your relationships. If you're going to give feedback, you want to give feedback in such a way that people receive it, because help that isn't received isn't helpful. So yesterday I did a post about unsolicited advice, and it's still getting comments on it. So go check it out. Especially if you're a coach, go check out how people feel when they get unsolicited advice. So what I teach them to do is to give good feedback. And the way we do good feedback is this. We give a minimum of 2 things. When they learn something, we discuss it, and then they role play it in front of the entire class. They role play this new thing because it's a safe place. It's a safe environment. And when we go to give feedback, we give them 2 things that they nailed it. 2 or 3 things where you crushed it. That was a pivotal question right there. That was a powerful question that had that person get beyond the surface and get to the root of their beliefs so they can transform their behavior and therefore change the trajectory of their future. That was awesome. And the way you handled her objections was awesome. So you're getting some good feedback, right? You're getting what you did right first. And then we ask permission. Can I share with you an area of growth? It is not, well, let me tell you what you did wrong. Let me tell you what you didn't do right. Let me tell you always do. Look, people don't always do nothing. Stop it. You're making people shut down, and then they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to come and have a conversation with you. They are definitely not going to get vulnerable with you. In the academy, when I teach them how to give feedback, we're going to ask powerful, pivotal questions that open up conversation. And when we give something that's an area of growth, we call it that, and we ask permission. Because when you ask someone permission to share your advice or your feedback or your point of view, then you are valuing the other person. One of the things that was said was that when people give advice, I think it was Linda Wartell. I used to go to church with her. Hey, Linda, I hope you watch this Facebook Live. She shared something that was very profound and very good. She said, I don't think anybody really likes unsolicited advice, and no one really wants to be told that their decision-making process is flawed. Now, I paraphrase that because that was yesterday, and I've done a lot of things between now and yesterday. My memory is in the gist of it, but not perfectly what she said. But it's the gist of what she said. People don't want you poking holes at them, especially if you have no relationship capital. What is relationship capital? That you have built trust over time. And you just come to someone you don't barely know, someone you only know on social media, and everything you post on their page is negative. And then you wonder why you got blocked because you don't have no relationship to share that. So when we're talking in the Coaching Academy, we ask each other permission to share feedback. We are in a safe place. I talk about my blunders so that they don't think I've got to be perfect, because you're not going to be perfect. I don't care how good you get at everything you do and how many of your weaknesses you get rid of. Are you still going to have some weaknesses? Yeah, we all do. And we all have strengths. And the key is don't let either one of them define you. You let the blood of Jesus and his validation be your only validation. because then you can do things and you can move and not have to feel that mantle of perfection sitting on your shoulders like a 10-ton weight. I have to be perfect in everything I do. Otherwise, people are going to criticize you. Guess what? You're not going to be perfect, and people are going to criticize you even when you're at your best. So you might as well learn and grow and be loving and caring and graceful with yourself. And this is what we teach in the academy. And so when we talk about pivotal questions are powerful questions that allows a person to think beyond the surface so that they can really get to the root of why they do what they do. And it's very powerful. All questions are not equal. We learned on Thursday that you want to ask certain questions: how, what, when, where questions, and avoid who and why questions. You avoid who and why questions because who and why questions put people on the defense. It often makes people shut down subliminally. So they don't even realize, I'm not feeling comfortable with sharing, but I don't know why I don't feel comfortable. But I'm not going to share my innermost details with her because I don't feel comfortable. And so what learning how to do pivotal questions does is it allows you to ask questions that are neutral, non-judgmental, graceful, caring, and open. Open up the conversation. And so when in the coaching lab, they learn this in one module. So we go into great detail on how to craft pivotal questions. And then we come into a coaching lab and we practice it. I mean, they all get, they all say, oh, we don't get enough time. We want to talk a little more. But they all get 5 or 10 minutes and they power coach each other using these pivotal questions so that they begin to learn how to ask pivotal questions as a second nature. Sometimes we have to press through the uncomfortable and continue to practice doing something until we get comfortable doing it. And then it becomes second nature. I used to do this module in the program. I don't do it anymore. I did it years ago, where I demoed how to have an unproductive conversation. And it was so hard for me. The longer I was coaching, the harder it was for me to interrupt people and ask why questions and be very, very aggressive in interrogating them. It became hard for me because it has become second nature for me to stop, listen, check my biases, check my judgments, check my junk before I ask a question, so that I can be neutral, so I can be loving, so I can be caring, so I can create a safe place for strangers to open up with me. And so when you begin to think about this, it's all about you adding value to people by the questions you ask. It's like asking a question, well, if you hit your goal, how is that going to feel? That sets a set of doubt. We're talking about subconscious because the subconscious is what dictates 95% of your behavior. So when you say if, there's a question mark. Do you really think that she can do it? But when you say when you hit your goal, when you open up your own business, when you earn your first 6 figures in your own business, when you meet that man of God that you've been praying for, when you have that first baby, it's a sense of belief. It's a sense of faith that you are conveying to the person you're communicating with, and it adds value to them. And when people feel valued and when people feel heard, then guess what? People open up and they share things with you that they wouldn't typically share. When people feel defensive, when they begin to defend themselves, that's why it's called defensive. People who get defensive are feeling attacked. Ask yourself, why do they feel attacked? What is it about what I'm saying or communicating that is making them defensive? Now, some people are just defensive because of their mentality. They think everybody's against them, their worldview. They operate in a scarcity, limited victim mentality. But some people get defensive, honestly, because they feel like you're attacking them. And sometimes you are, by the way you ask those questions. So you want to open up your conversations. I mean, now this is going to work with your kids, with your spouse, with your job, with your coworkers, with your employees. When you make people feel safe, they feel like they can open up. And when people are talking, they are trusting. Hear me. When people are sharing details with you, they trust you. If you are a leader or your kids, where you're a leader of your kids, you're a parent, and your kids won't open up to you, they don't trust you. And no one's going to just walk up to you and say, hey, you know what, boss, I don't trust you. That's why I don't tell you what's going on in my world. No, they're just going to fall back. They're just going to make distance. They're just going to avoid you. They're just not going to open up. But if you start to ask questions in a way that makes people feel safe and not judged, then you will get more from the conversation. Another thing that people will do when they don't feel safe, they'll give you the answers they think you want to hear. And that doesn't help anybody. Your facade is not helping anybody. It doesn't help you and it doesn't help them, because you can't transform a facade. You can only get transformation with the real. Okay. So when we begin to think about practicing something until it becomes comfortable, that's the beauty of the Breakthrough for Life Academy. We have 4 labs in this academy, and we have role play all throughout. So when we talk about the 4 labs, we have a niche lab where we actually practice the niche. We only do that lab for about 30 minutes in the class, where we practice your niche statement. After you have learned how to identify your niche, who your ideal client is, how to speak their language, how to craft magnetic marketing languages that are going to attract them to you. Pretty much every single client that signs up with me, they called me. I didn't call them, but I do the marketing to hone in on my ideal client. That's one lab we do. The other lab we do is we're going to do a pivotal questions lab, and we're going to practice those pivotal questions, crafting them on the dime so that you are not looking at a list. It's second nature. It's in you. And then another lab we do, the other 2 labs we do are on the 2 coaching modalities that I teach, Groom and Lift. Groom is a coaching modality that is to help people move from goal setting to goal achievement. The Lift coaching modality is designed to lift up beyond the surface of what you're experiencing in life to get to the root of what it is. And oftentimes we don't even know the root. When we look at that lift, we are helping people identify their blind spots. They're identifying their triggers, the reasons why they're creating destructive cycles in their lives. That lift does the heavy lifting in the soul to pull out the issues of the heart as to why you're having these different struggles in your life. And so we do a lab on all 4 of those, because those are brand new ways of looking and approaching conversations to create transformation in people's lives. And in doing so, people get real comfortable with doing it. I've gotten testimonies from people who have been coached by a coaching training through the Breakthrough for Life Academy. I've had some of my students, they've gotten paying clients before they even graduated, because we do this, what is called supervised coaching, which is some pro bono coaching, where they coach 2 people for free, no charge, for 4 weeks, 1 hour per week. And so you're practicing with someone that you don't know, someone who doesn't know what you're supposed to be walking through, and they are getting phenomenal results. They're getting a lot of epiphanies, and therefore they feel more confident in what they do. And so that's the beauty of a implementation coaching program, where you get to implement it live. It's like on-the-job training. You learn it from the instructor, you discuss it, I demo it for you. I am the instructor. It is a live class. It is not an online recorded class. And then afterwards, you're going to do some peer coaching with your peer coach offline. Then you're going to do some supervised coaching offline. And even in the class, we break out into breakout groups and we do some role play, because my goal is not just to give you a certification so you can validate that you're a real life coach. My job is to equip you with the tools to add to your talents so that you can create transformation in the lives of other people. That's the only way I'm going to meet this mantle of helping to transform 1 million lives, is if I can duplicate the transformation process in coaches that are designed and skilled to get breakthrough. So this academy is all about you adding skills to your talents so that you can live on promise with God and help others do the same thing. And so I just wanted to come through and I wanted to give you that. I want to talk a little bit about the giving unsolicited advice. Y'all, at the end of the day, we all have been there where we've given someone advice, they didn't take it. We've given someone advice that didn't want it. We've given someone advice that we didn't ask permission to share with them. We've given people advice that we didn't have the relationship capital to give them the advice. And we've all been there, and we've all been on the receiving side of that too. One of the beauties of learning how to ask pivotal questions that opens up the heart and really make people feel safe is that you ask for permission to share advice. And this is good if whether or not you want to be a coach, want to get coached, or want to be a coach leader, or just want to be a good person in relationships. Stop giving people advice that didn't ask for it, because help that is not received is not helpful. So instead, value people and ask them. May I share a little bit? Can I share an observation with you? I have a friend of mine who, I say friend, and I'm using that very loosely with this particular relationship, but she's very judgmental of me about being single for the length of time that I've been single. And every time that I mention, being single or whatever, in any aspect, she always throws her marriage in my face. And I'm glad she's married. I'm thrilled. I prayed for that husband to come into her life. But it's kind of like she wants to shame me because of it. And so one day she gave me some unsolicited advice. She said to me, Brenda, if you weren't so caught up in somebody being 6'2", 225 with a six-pack, you may be able to find a husband. And I looked at her and I said, sweetie, I struggle with my weight. The last thing I need is another fluffy man laying next to me and both of us eating chocolate cake together. That's the last thing I need, is someone who is going to encourage my poor eating habits. So can you tell that I didn't really like her advice? I didn't. Now, I'm not all caught up in looks. Some of the gentlemen I've dated aren't 6'2", 225 with a six-pack. That's kind of hard to find. But if I'm going to pray for something, I'm going to pray for what I want. And then I'm going to accept what God sends me, okay? But she gave me this unsolicited advice, and it always makes me feel some kind of way when I talk to her. I don't really open up with her like I used to, because every time I mention my singleness, I get this side eye. If you wasn't like this and you wasn't like that, then you'd have a man. Well, sweetie, I've been engaged 4 times. I could have been married if I really wanted to. And then if I really get honest with myself and I look at that particular situation, I'm also not willing to bankroll any man's business while I'm dating him in order to get him to marry me. Let that land where it may. But I'm just not doing that. And so I've gotten so comfortable in my singleness that I can now value me, value my morals, value what I do. But because she gives me unsolicited advice about my singleness, guess what? Me and her don't talk very much. Because what's good for her isn't good for me. And likewise, the way I would probably do marriage isn't the way most women would do marriage. Okay? But it works for me, and I'm not judging her, and I hope that she would stop judging me so that we can go back to bonding in our relationship. But when you give unsolicited advice, that's what it does. It shuts down relationships. And you wonder why people don't call me like they used to. Why don't they, we don't communicate like we used to? Because you probably gave some advice that they didn't ask you for and they didn't agree with. So if you want to build depth in your relationship, start to honor the differences that God has created in people. As much as we are the same, we are different, beloved. And so I just hope that this is helping somebody today. Hopefully you learn how to press through the wall so that you can get your breakthrough, how you put your feelings in check to your priorities. Hopefully you have learned that you need to practice something in the uncomfortable state until you become comfortable with it. And hopefully you've also learned, stop giving unsolicited advice. Ask people to share their opinion with you. Now, I'm not going to say I've been perfect in all of this. I haven't. But I've known that when I haven't been, it has not ever worked good for me. And so I try to do better and be better as I know better. And so this is Brenda Underwood, the Breakthrough Strategist, coming to you live today. And if you are in a place where you are ready to get breakthrough, look, give me a call, schedule a free discovery call with me. You can call 855-923-LIFE. That's 855-5433. And schedule a free discovery call, or you can just go to my website, check your calendar against my schedule, and schedule right there a free discovery call that we're going to get together. We're going to put together a custom coaching program for you. Or we can talk about if this coaching academy is a good fit for you, because I certify coaches and I coach. And so either way, you can go into this discovery call and we can come out of this discovery call knowing exactly what you're going to get, knowing exactly what the path is to get you from where you are to where you want to go. And I hope that you'll take advantage of that. And I see this as a sowing into you, because no matter what, you're going to walk away from that discovery call with clarity. And if you do that, and I believe you will, then it's a win for everybody involved. This is Brenda Underwood, the Breakthrough Strategist, signing off. Have a wonderful weekend. Peace and love. Bye-bye.